Man, oh man, welcome back in, guys, to the Celtics Talk Weekly post-game show. I am your host, Rob Haytan. Joined with me are my two co-hosts, Ian Angelo and my boy Franco. Guys, the Celtics pick up their final win of the final preseason game on the road against the Charlotte Hornets. The Celtics were winners by 127-99. How about Jaylen Brown? 20 points there. The starters got into a groove early. Kristaps Porzingis, he had 14 points, 12 rebounds, his first double-double as a Celtic, although it technically doesn't go into the books, but double-double is a double-double. How about Derek White, 15 points through Holiday, 11. All starters in double figures, and Kata off the bench, he had 12 as well. A successful preseason. We got a lot kind of to talk about tonight, honestly, with it being the final preseason. Celtics are winners of 4 of 5, 4-1 record through 5 games in the preseason. One loss was on the road to New York. Obviously, no starters. Franco, now, you've seen 5 games. 4 of them, you kind of have seen remnants or a presence of the main guys. Obviously, one of them, you didn't see anyone, and then one of them, you kind of saw half of them.
Yep.
Where are you at with this Celtics team? Are you sold, or are you not sold? What needs to be fixed? Anything? Where are your thoughts at right now after these first 5 preseason games?
I feel like I can pull a Jack B and put something on my right arm. But I'm feeling really good about this squad through 15-man roster. We were talking before the show. We're having trouble deciding who's going to go, who's not. That's a real testament to how good of a job Brad Stevens did of putting together this roster before the season even started. It's going to be very interesting to see how the starters come together, what rotations they work. What they did tonight with Al out of the rotation with Derek White, that looks like shouldn't be the starters every single night, but that should be who should be killing every game in the final 5 minutes.
For sure. Yeah, that game was incredible. I mean, it's just got me running through a brick wall. I'm ready for the Celtics season to start, man.
Absolutely.
I wish that was the start of the season today, because that was just insane basketball to watch. They broke a franchise record in steals in the preseason.
Right.
The defense was there. The offense was insane. I mean, we were talking about how potentially dangerous this offense can be. I mean, let's think about it. Jason Tatum did not have a great shooting game. Drew Holiday didn't have a great shooting game. Porzingis didn't have a great shooting game. And Jaylen Brown went out there and he dropped 20 points. He shot 4 or 5 from 3. I mean, he was absolutely insane. And it's like you stop one of them and then you got 3 or 4 more coming. And the bench unit was nice. And overall, it was just a great time. And I'm ready for the season to start.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed through and through. I think there were some gaps and holes in the bench units that aren't super concerning, but are definitely present. And they'll be present once the bench is playing more minutes and their roles really aren't what they're going to be in the regular season. You're going to see guys like, Shea Brissett and Lamar Stevens and Banton have the ball in their hands more and be in situations that they're not really used to. So I'm not really worried about that. As far as Kristaps Porzingis goes, I mean, I am super impressed and super sold on this guy. He is levels ahead of what we had before, and that's no disrespect to what we had before. Offensively, defensively, what he brings to the table in the rebounding category department is just phenomenal. I mean, he's 7'3". He can stretch the floor. He's shooting 61% through from the 3 ball through this preseason. I mean, he's just truly a dominant force in the paint, which we really haven't had offensively. As far as Holiday goes, again, I mean, the game is so fluent. He's so smooth. He had 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists tonight, and you would have thought he had a mediocre game. And he also had 3 steals. So it's just like, that's just who he is. That's what these guys are. That's why Brad Stevens cut ties with some of the guys he cut ties with. It was a tough decision, but I'll tell you what, I'm sold on this Celtics team through the first 5 games. I think I've seen enough from them to believe that this is the team and this is the roster that Brad Stevens had envisioned and that he had gone out and sought after was Porzingis and Holiday. I think the cohesiveness is going to be there, and I think the offensive versatility is there, and I think the defensive ability is there, and that press they've been running is kind of getting me super excited for this Celtics season to start. So that's awesome. Let's talk about the player of the game, the final one of the preseason. So how about Jaylen?
The Peyton Pritchard Award.
I know, the Peyton Pritchard Award. How about Jaylen Brown? Tonight, Jaylen Brown had 20 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, and a steal to go along with 4 3-pointers made in this game. But how about this? 17 of those first 20 came in the first half. He really didn't play much in the second half after that first 3 minutes. He was kind of a no-show. Same with all the starters. Jaylen Brown, guys, he's kind of looked phenomenal. These first couple games, right? He had a down game the other night with the turnovers, but it kind of felt like he kind of was getting the ball in situations where he was able to do what he's really good at. Do you think that with is that going to be something normal now? Like now that Brown and Tatum don't really have to be or more specifically Brown's job is kind of play defense and get to the rim and score, right? It's no longer like, oh, you got to be a facilitator, right? You got to do this, you got to do that. So it's like, is this the Jaylen Brown you're going to be seeing, just strictly getting buckets?
I mean, honestly, I think this is what the Celtics envisioned when they traded for Holiday and Porzingis. Is as great as Jaylen Brown was last season, he was no doubt the number 2 option. Nobody else was going to be the guy outside of Tatum.
Right.
And instead, now you have Tatum, obviously, who can give you buckets. You have Holiday, who can give you buckets. You have Kristaps Porzingis, who can give you buckets. So now the less responsibility Jaylen Brown is going to have can make him a better player when it comes to scoring the ball and just playing his role now because he has legitimate help. And I'm not saying he didn't have help last year with Smart and Horford and Rob, but like this team is considerably more talented than the team was last year.
Right.
So I just feel like, and there's just going to be situations where, there'll be games where he won't have a good shooting night, but that's not going to matter as much as it would have last year.
Right.
Because you have other guys on the team that can pick up the slack. So I think this is going to make Jaylen Brown a better player overall. And you can tell that he's been working on his game. I mean, he made a couple left-handed layups in this game. I'm just saying that left hand making an appearance tonight.
Something that I think that is very apparent to me through these first 5 games is how much more opportunity these guys are going to have, Brown and Tatum. Before with the Celtics, you were okay with guys like Grant Williams and guys like Marcus Smart beating you on a night-to-night basis, and especially in the playoffs. If they were going to beat you, so be it. They won't do it 4 times, excuse me. And I think that is why you saw so much struggle in the playoffs at times. Not all the time, because the good far outweighed the bad in the playoffs with those guys. But you saw them struggle because it was so easy to key in on those 2 guys. Where it's, listen, we're going to clog the paint. You got Robert Williams, who's a lob threat, so we're going to clog up the paint. And if guys like Grant and Smart beat you, then so be it. This season, I think what you're seeing with this starting 5 is, 1, they can all stretch the floor. They can all post up. They can all attack the rim. That's 3 levels. They can hit the mid-range, they can shoot the 3, and they can get into the paint. That's all 3 levels offensively that 1 through 5 can do. And even Horford off the bench with 6. So I think it's like, okay, you're going to hone in on Jaylen Brown tonight because he's got the hot hand over the past 5 games. Well, Jason Tatum will then give you 40. It's like, okay, well, then we're going to hone in on Brown and Tatum because, you can do that. You can set up a scheme for 2 guys. Okay, well, then Porzingis, he's going to give you 30. Holiday's going to give you 25. And that's real. Like before, yeah, we had Brogdon, right? Brogdon get you 20. Brogdon get you 23. But it was different. It wasn't really like a dominating performance. Yeah. Like it was something that if it happened, you were okay with it. Because he wasn't controlling the pace of the game. Holiday and Porzingis can control the game. And to have that, I think, is really special. To have 4 guys that can do that is super special. Really, I mean, God, this team.
So much was put to rest through this preseason. That's the best way to explain it. Any concerns about Porzingis being softer in the paint, not being able to truly control the 5 position, he was able to lock down Mitchell Robinson and players that are quite larger and are known as post players. That's not something I'm too worried about. And Jaylen Brown having to be it's A, B, C, or D.
Right.
Instead of option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. It's pick your poison, and Jaylen Brown being able to slash and be a defensive leader, I feel like he's going to take up more of the Marcus Smart role without being Marcus Smart, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, for sure. And I think that we've seen all levels of KP. Something I was kind of scared of. Not super, but it was in the back of my mind. It was like, okay, are we going to just kind of have Porzingis roam the 3-point line as a screen setter and a popper? It's like he's good. Yeah. He can do that. He's really great, but I really want to see him in the paint. I really want to see him down low. And tonight in a matchup against a Hornets team that really doesn't have an interior presence, we saw Porzingis just off their offensive rebound, go back up, catch the ball in the paint, draw the foul, and one. Like those abilities that, as much as I loved Rob couldn't create for himself. He needed others around him to create for him. So I think that's really great. And then on top of that, you got Kaida off the bench, who I want to talk about because of how solid he looked. And in a backup big man position that Celtics fans and really national media have really been like, okay, where are they going to go? And in a regular season game, I think I can say this. I confidently can say this. Kaida can get the job done for you. I really think he can. I think his defensive IQ's there. I think his athleticism there. I think his timing's there. He's a Robert Williams type, which again, what have I been stressing for our backup big man? A rebounder, a rim presence, and a shot blocker. Kaida's those things, man. That guy can block shots. He can catch lobs, and he can play good defense. I mean,
is taller than Rob too.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this guy and Cornette got a coach's decision, did not play. So, I mean, is this the end of the road for Luke Cornette, guys? We talked about it before the end of the show, before the show started. Is this it? Is Kaida the guy?
Respectfully to Luke Cornette, I think it's done. I think Kaida officially took over the minutes that Luke Cornette was going to get. You saw even in the Knicks game, Luke Cornette had a really short leash, and even when he was playing, he didn't play very well. He hasn't played very well this entire preseason, and it kind of sucks to see. But, I mean, Kaida's taken the opportunity, and he's showing out.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done, and I don't mean to continue to hate on Cornette, but all the stuff that Kaida did in this game and that he's done in the whole preseason, you're never going to see Luke Cornette do that type of stuff. That's just not his game. And, like, I feel like the Celtics have been trying to push Luke Cornette into that kind of a role. Because if you look at what Luke Cornette was doing before he came to the Celtics, he was more of a 3-point guy. Like, he would just kind of stand in the corner and he would shoot threes and he would grab the occasional rebound when it came off because, you know, he's 7-footer. But when he came to the Celtics, he kind of decided to be more of a paint presence and, you know, try to just be like a roller to the rim. And it just wasn't his game. And it kind of sucks that he wasn't able to fit the role the Celtics needed.
Right.
But I'm all in on Kaida. He's 10 for 10 shooting in his last 2 games that he's played in.
It just feels like
he's just incredible.
It's like he flows with the game, with the offense. It's like,
yeah,
you know, obviously I've said this over the past couple of post-game shows. This season is too big and is too important, and there's too much on the line to have Luke Cornette playing backup center. You just can't have it. And is Kaida the best option? No, I think there's some better options out there. But I'll tell you what, I think he could be the best option with what I've seen so far. I think he really has shown that he is ready to take advantage of this opportunity. I mean, 12.7 rebounds in 13 minutes is not something to underlook in the final preseason game, the game that is the last opportunity you get to get real action before the regular season starts. So I really do think that, you know, that is something you need to look at. I mean, Cornette, outside of Scrub, who has torn ACL, and Al Horford, who didn't play due to rest, didn't touch the floor. I mean, Cornette's the only guy. I mean, Stewart got in, Walsh got in, Gabriel got in, Shvee got in. I mean, these are guys, and remember, Wenyen, Stevens, and Stewart are all on camp deals, so they're probably not going to be on the team. So, I mean, I don't know if you might see Cornette get cut along with, obviously Jay Scrubs. You can't really hold a roster spot to a guy that has a torn ACL. He is on a two-way. So we'll see with Jay Scrub. I'd love to keep him because I'm a big Scrub fan, but you just don't know what the business side of thing is. So I think as Celtics fan, guys, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think as Celtics fans, through 5 preseason games, we feel a little more at ease with that backup big man spot now.
Oh, definitely. If Kata can step into that role, it will leave complete. He's on a two-way contract, which is something that they can take advantage of.
Right.
So they can keep around a Banton or one of these guys that is just on a training camp deal, and they can work their way in until January or whenever the deadline is to make a two-way player either down to the G League or NBA player. And by that time, you can, if there's a trade that needs to be made, you can improve the team by moving 2 of those pieces for one piece that will really create that playoff push if something unveils and, Lord forbid, an injury happens or we need a new position.
So who are your, because you figure you run a 9-man rotation, normally 8-9-man through the first half of the regular season. And then once All-Star break kind of hits, then you kind of cut it down to the 8-man. And then you kind of cut it down to maybe 7-8 in the playoffs. So opening night, you obviously have New York in Madison Square Garden. Again, last time we were there, it was an overtime thriller. Brown had a performance, but we fell short. Who's your 9? Because I think right now, my 9 guys who I want to see in the rotation are obviously the 6. Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, White, Holiday, Horford. Then there's 3 spots. Pritchard has secured that other spot, I think. I think that dude is a certified lineup guy. And I think we need a little bit of size. So I think Kaida could be in there, but not really be in there because, again, you can go Horford, Porzingis, your turn, my turn at the big man spot. So I'm going to go Pritchard, Hauser, and then O'Shea Brissett as my 3 off the bench alongside Al Horford. What do you guys think? Where are you guys at?
I personally don't think they're going to have Brissett in the rotation. I think Brissett has a good skill set, and I think he can be really good. He didn't have an amazing preseason. Maybe Banton in spot minutes.
Banton played 16 off the bench.
I think Banton was good. I think you can put him in. I think Kata might actually play. I hope this doesn't turn into like a Noah Vonleh situation like last year. Do you remember in the beginning of the year when Noah Vonleh was like our 3rd string center? So I think they might go with Kata or Cornette, depending on if Cornette gets cut or not. I feel like they're going to have a big man out there for even just a little bit of minutes because I don't think Horford and Porzingis are going to play the whole game, just the 2 of them.
Right.
So I think obviously the top 6, and then probably Kata, Pritchard, and Hauser, if I had to guess. Those are my probably what we saw today.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning of the game today, like the first substitutions.
We did see Banton. We saw Banton come in pretty early. He was the second man off the bench.
I could see Banton coming in. And obviously Al's going to be there, so you can maybe take out Kata, but I think it's going to be Banton or Kata because I think Pritchard and Hauser have already secured their spots too.
I agree.
So, you can go either way. Maybe he'll run the 10-man rotation. Who knows?
Right.
You never know what Joe Mazzulla is going to do.
I feel like it's going to come down who has a better practice the day before with the backup players. Like if Brissett is really feeling good and is fitting into these minutes, he's going to earn them. But I feel like everyone's on an equal playing field going into the regular season to earn their keep and become a part of the 8-man rotation. And some players are going to start at the top of the rotation. And then by the end of the season, we don't even see them coming off the bench.
Yeah. I feel like something I've noticed is we're playing this really high full court press that speeds the team up. I don't know if this is it was brand new the past 2 games. We were the first time we're seeing it. I really like it. I really, really like it. It gets teams into their sets later if they do break it. And if they don't break it, you have guys like Holiday, White, and Brown who run the break so well, being able to get out in transition. So if we do that, if that's the plan, I really like Banton because Banton's a really lengthy guy that's going to be able to get those steals in the lane, and he's phenomenal with the ball in his hands. Very smooth game, has a good has a good IQ. So if that's the direction they're going, I could see Banton squeezing in for sure. Hauser's streaky. Hauser's streaky in my opinion. Because some nights I love him. I'm like, oh my God, this guy is a sniper. And then some nights I'm just like, oh, Sam, just slow it down, right? Like, oh, wait, one extra pass. So, well, I'm interested. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Oh, hang on.
Ben's gonna play 1 through 4 for us, and because he's technically listed as a guard, but it's kind of like a Ben Simmons type of situation, or
right.
I feel like he's gonna really be able to contribute wherever we need to, and he's gonna be able to sub out for basically anyone on the court if they need to put someone in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it just depends on what Joe Mazzulla's feeling that day.
Yeah,
I think they could easily run a 10-man rotation if they wanted to. Like, no
so?
joke. I feel like they could. I mean, you could obviously run the top 6. Then you can put Pritchard in. You can put Banton in. You can put Keita or Cornette in. And you can put Brissett in if you really want to.
Right.
I don't know how many minutes Brissett's going to get because it didn't feel like he carved out a role this preseason. Like I kind of expected him to.
Right.
I expected him to kind of carve out a solid kind of bench guy, and I just didn't see that from Brissett. But I do think he's going to be good. So I still think they're going to find minutes for him. I don't know. I mean, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see for opening night. But with the way the Celtics have their roster, I think they could easily run a 10-man rotation if they really wanted to.
Yeah, I don't disagree because I feel like we have so much depth where it's like, okay, you're running the 10-man, sure, but you can have 3 of the top 6 in the game at all times to control the game. So it's like, okay, yeah, it's a 10-man, but it's kind of really a 6-man with fillers is how I look at it, right? It's like you're running the 10-man, but you got 3 of the top 6 in, and you got 2 of the fillers in, and we're gonna swap it out, and then 2 fillers are gonna. It's like, okay,
we're gonna go back to the old bubble Celtics when we used to run that. Remember when we used to run that kind of lineup where we would have the starters play, and then we would just take them out like periodically.
Right.
And just throw in any random guy that we had on the team.
I'm all for that because when your bench players play with guys like Holiday and Tatum and Brown and White, they play better. They're better in those situations. So I'm all for that. There's so much to be excited for though, guys. I mean, after tonight, I am so ready for this season. It's new, it's fresh, it's exciting. It's a new team. There's a new feeling and there's a new smell in the air, I think, around in the city of Boston. The Sox are bad. The Bruins are going to be solid, but they're going to break your heart. Maybe the Celtics might break our heart, but hopefully not. let me go with it. The Pats are bad. The city is
in need.
Yeah, the city is absolutely rallying around the Boston Celtics right now. So there is so much to be excited for. Guys, this is our last post-game show in the preseason. So after this, you're going to be seeing more faces. You're going to be seeing longer post-game shows. So thank you so much for joining in on the preseason ones. Because quite frankly, if you're watching it now, the fact that you're in here you're a true fan, right? I appreciate you. A lot to be excited for this upcoming season, guys. Before we end the show, any last thoughts? Any last takes? Anything? What you got for me? Anything?
Sfima Hailuk, he's going to make the team. I think.
I like that.
He was pretty nice this preseason. I think he did a pretty good job. And if Hauser is having one of those streaky moments where he's not shooting well, you could throw in a guy like him to kind of make up. So, yeah.
I think I have a bold prediction. I think almost every player on our roster will have a night that they score over 15 points this season.
Ooh, okay. So this will Justin and Jack.
Are you talking about the starting lineup?
That's a big question right there.
Through 15. I feel like every single player has the potential to give us a good night above 15 points and being candidacy for player of the game. I think it's going to be the most well-distributed player of the game award.
I like
This
that.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell with like the starting lineup. I think you're going to see games where like everyone's going to be in double digits by halftime,
I got
or
one.
not by
I got
halftime,
one for
but
you
in general.
guys.
But
I got one. Here's mine. The Boston Celtics go into Madison Square Garden on the night of Wednesday, the 25th in October 2023. Tip off at 7:30. And I guarantee you that the
oh, geez.
Boston Celtics not only just beat the New York Knicks on opening night, but they put the beat down on the New York Knicks on opening night because this team is not playing around. We are here. And guys, again, thank you so much for joining us in and watching us live. The Boston Celtics pick up a 127-99 victory on the road in Charlotte tonight. Jaylen Brown was your player of the game. He had 20 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 4 3-pointers made. How about that from the freshly signed contract guy? 304 for JB. Worth every penny, guys. I'm Rob. Next to me is my guy Ian, and below me is my boy Franco. Thank you so much for joining in and watching. And until next time.